The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. So I see we have 25 participants and hopefully growing as this session evolves. My name is Alex DeNoble. I'm a professor of entrepreneurship in the Fowler College of Business at San Diego State University, and I serve as the executive director of the Lavin Entrepreneurship Center. It's our pleasure to host this online event. What we wanted to do in this session, we have some incredible organizations tapping different elements of the entrepreneurship community, from researchers and educators to center directors to policymakers and practitioners. And our different programs and our different organizations, while we've carved out various niches for ourselves to work in, I think collectively we provide an incredible set of resources, professional resources that people interested in the world of entrepreneurship can truly access and take advantage of. So the purpose of this session is I would like for you to meet the leaders of each of these different organizations, and this is just a sampling, but we're going to use this session so that you can learn about what's happening in all of our different programs. So by way of introduction, we have Ahmed Osman coming all the way from Cairo, Egypt. And Ahmed, what time is it there?
Well, it's just 11 p.m. So
11 p.m.
An hour.
So
Exactly.
And you look bright-eyed and ready to go. So I appreciate you staying up with us for this particular session. Ahmed is the president of the International Council for Small Business. He is the founder and CEO of Chrome, which manages a construction portfolio exceeding $1 billion US. And we had a chance to visit Ahmed in Cairo recently, and we saw some of those construction projects really transforming your entire region. Ahmed is also the managing director of the Global Entrepreneurship Network in Egypt. He works extensively in empowering youth with relevant business and entrepreneurial skills. So as our one of our partners in this endeavor, Ahmed, let me turn the floor over to you to share what's going on at ICSB and why and how should people get involved?
Well, thank you very much, Alex. First of all, it's my pleasure to be at your conference online. I congratulate you for this great event. We didn't imagine the power of technology. We are now realizing that technology really can bring everyone together. Well, basically, ICSB is one of the world's oldest organizations supporting SMEs worldwide. ICSB was founded in 1955, and it is represented in around 85 countries. And we have, through our members, we call them our four main pillars of membership. They are our educators and our researchers, our policymakers, and our practitioners. ICSB has been through a very large process of transformation over the last year or so. This was all built upon a number of committees which were formed over the last, let's say, 6 or 7 years. We're looking at a new business model, looking at new revenue streams for the organization, looking at a new footprint and new members. And obviously, let's say in 2017, we were very successful as we are the originator of the UN MSME Day. And this was, a very big step ICSB took in partnership with the United Nations to get a resolution created for the MSME Day. And I'd like to mention, obviously, my dear friend, Dr. Kishan Kim, and obviously Ayman Tarabishi, for all the effort they've been doing in doing the work with the United Nations on creating MSME Day. So ICSB currently, our new business model is looking at how to create more knowledge, to have more partners work with us, more partner organizations globally. We have a long list. Obviously, this, let's say, this pandemic we're through has made us more creative, and Ayman has led a lot of online tools and things which have really had great impact. So we are through a process of change, and hopefully we'll get new members joining ICSB, and we're also looking at younger members to become members of our organization.
All right. We'll come back during the Q&A session, but I really thank you, Ahmed. It's I really want our panel member, our audience, to hear from all of our organizations, and then we'll just engage in a Q&A. Our next presenter is Dr. Jill Kickul. Jill is the president of the United States Association for Small Business and Entrepreneurship, USASBE. She's a professor in the Lloyd Grief Center for Entrepreneurial Studies at the University of Southern California. She's a Narian Research Chair in Social Entrepreneurship, and she's an avid runner who safely runs the streets of Los Angeles. So a little bit of Jill's hobbies here.
Yeah.
Jill, tell us a little bit about what's happening at USASBE.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Alex. And thank you for, inviting me in, this time in terms of being online. So I congratulate you doing this for the first time. And you really are reimagining a conference. And so you're taking the first step. So I applaud you. I want to talk a little bit about some of the changes that have been going on at USASBE and some of the work that we've been doing probably in the last 7 to 8 months, and kind of two focus areas here. One is overall in our strategy and our operational issues that we've been working through. And another area is on programming. So I'll start with strategy and the operational issues. So like I said, during the last 7 to 8 months, we've been working on restructuring our board and looking in terms of, as USASBE has grown, going from a working board to a governing board. And we pulled in actually a number of really top consultants in the nonprofit space to really help us work through this. So when I talk about going from a working to a governing board, it really is based on the premise that we want to be more strategic in terms of creating the value for our members. And that predicates that we have a CEO, leadership, a staff that can actually help us do that. And so instead of in the past of being so much in the weeds of being operational and doing the day-to-day things, we turn it over to a very capable CEO and her staff. And her staff is Julie Shields, who we just brought on March 9th. And in this governing board, we have the board being the representatives, the directors at large will be chairs of certain committees. So we're breaking it down. The committees will be not only chaired by those, but also it'll be open to members. So there's much more of a member kind of buy-in to what USASBE is doing, and really more of a voice for our members. So the whole idea is from the members for the members kind of philosophy. And Julie Shields, as our new CEO, has really worked hard in the last month. We're bringing on a new program assistant that starts on March 20th. So we're really excited about that. It'll really help us and will help Julie carry through. She's kind of on a warpath right now. Another thing we're kind of doing right now is we're going through a brand refresh. And for many of you that have been involved with USASBE for many years, we have had the same kind of brand logo for some time. So we're working with an organization here in LA to go through that. So we're really excited. I think it's been almost 20 years maybe since we've done a design. And then secondly, on programming. So Julie and the whole team and the board has really thought through in terms of what can we provide value to our members right now, especially during this pandemic. And we've done a number of fireside chats, thank you, with ICSB. We have another one actually coming up that will address and give resources for educators who want to help their students find internships and jobs, especially in these uncertain times. And then we've also developed, it'll be out here very soon, I'll probably put the link here into the chat, is a COVID-9 website. So those are resources for entrepreneurship educators. And particularly if we look to go into however long we're going to be online, but really some great resources for them. And then finally, we'll be holding some additional town halls in March, late March. We did our first USASBE town hall, had over about 50 that was attended. And so just getting some feedback again from our members and listening to our members. So we're really excited about the year ahead, even though it's in these times, but yeah, looking forward to discussion.
So thank you, Jill, for that brief introduction. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of Q&A for all of our presenters today, but let me segue over to Brad Burke. Brad is the president of the Global Consortium of Entrepreneurship Centers, GCEC. GCEC is one of the sponsors of this conference, so thank you, Brad, and thank you, GCEC, for supporting our efforts in the way that you have. Brad is also the managing director of Rice University's Alliance for Technology and Entrepreneurship. He has helped Rice achieve the #1 U.S. graduate entrepreneurship business ranking according to Princeton Review and Entrepreneur magazine. Very, very impressive given the quality of programs that are out there. Brad also runs the largest intercollegiate global student startup competition each spring, the Rice Business Plan competition. Now get this, people, with over $1 million in prizes. That is very, very impressive, the work that you're doing at Rice University, and to take on the responsibility of leading a professional organization in our field is truly amazing. So welcome, Brad, and tell us a little bit about GCEC.
Thanks, Alex. I appreciate the opportunity to do that. I'm going to try, I haven't done this before, I'll try to share my screen. Well, let's see, select a window to do that. Okay.
Oh, okay, it's working. We got it.
Let me try to, okay, can you see the slides?
Yes, go ahead.
Great, great. So Alex, I appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit about what I'm going to talk about in about 5 minutes is what the GCC organization is, who's involved, why people get involved, and talk a little bit about the conference that we have coming up in the fall. And what is very interesting is a number of the speakers at this conference are on the leadership of the GCC, and the organization, as you'll see in a second, was co-founded by USC. So there's a lot of collaboration between our organization and USASBE and the other organizations. I do start with the fact that to pay homage to the 3 co-founders of the GCC, because the lineage of and the historical origin of the GCC, I think, is important to all of us. I was not one of them and was not involved in the GCC at that time, but the 3 individuals who co-founded the GCC were Don Kratko, who's now at Indiana University, Rudy Limon at the University of Maryland, and Tom Amalia, who was at USC. And I'm fond of all 3 of those, and was very fond of Tom, who I met many, many years ago. But they established the GCC back in 1997 as a result of some initial discussions that took place at the Kauffman Foundation. And those then spurred Don and Rudy and Tom to say, we need to expand the ability for those of us to get together and share best practices, to collaborate, to help each other develop new initiatives. So I would say that, you know, one of the key parts of the mission of the GCC, and it's still The mission you see on the screen is the original mission, but it's still true today that we want to help both big programs, small programs, new programs, old programs, improve their programs, the courses that are offered, the not extracurricular, co-curricular activities. And so we do that primarily through a conference that many of you know, but we hold a conference once a year and in the fall. This year's conference will be held in Las Vegas, so it's the first time that we've held in Las Vegas, and we're doing it over the Halloween weekend. So folks who go will get to see what Halloween is like in Las Vegas. The question I've gotten in the last week from a couple people is, well, is this really going to happen? And so I would say that I'm cautiously optimistic or naively optimistic that things will be back to the state where very possible, and it's, we're planning under the assumption that we will hold the conference in Las Vegas in October, and I think it'll be a good chance for folks to be able to see each other and kind of recover from, you know, what we would have experienced for the last 6 months or the previous 6 months from before October. Now, why people attend the conference? It's the two major reasons are to network with peers, meet people, colleagues, and to learn about best practices across those areas. But it also gives an opportunity for people to share their information about their programs. We do have awards like many of the other organizations do, and we provide awards in 8 categories. And GCC is always held at a university campus, not at a hotel. So it allows individuals who come to not only learn about best practices, network with peers, but also to see what the entrepreneurship program is like on a campus. And you can see on this slide, I've given the logos of the previous host of the conference. Started at the University of Maryland, and these are generally in chronological order. Last year, we had one of our best conferences in Stockholm. So I should say that we started out as the National Consortium of Entrepreneurship Centers, and then around 2007, 2008, transitioned to the Global Consortium. And we've held the conference now outside the US about every 3rd year. So Stockholm last year, London a few years before that, Halifax in between those two. So this year, we're fortunate that UNLV is hosting the conference, and I'll say a little bit more about that in a second. Who attends? We have both public and private universities who attend. We have small, medium, large programs. We have folks from the business schools, the traditional area of entrepreneurship, but also engineering and arts and other schools across campus. And we see directors of the programs come, assistant directors, program managers, program coordinators who want to learn more about specific programs, as well as tenured faculty, practitioners, professors of the practice. We think, and what people tell us, and you see some of the comments from last year's attendees at the bottom of the screen and on the bottom of some of these slides, that mixture of different types of backgrounds, different types of schools provides a good networking opportunity to learn more about all kinds of different aspects of entrepreneurship. And so what do we cover? We cover the waterfront. We cover education, innovations in education. We cover how you engage across campus, how you create programs that enhance the diversity and inclusion of entrepreneurship, how you measure outcomes, what type of tools that you use. So I would say we have a broad array of topics. And in particular, we just sent out a survey to our membership list a couple days ago and asked people for their input as to what they would like to see at this year's conference. So we've gotten over 100 replies so far, and we're going to take that and help us mold this year's conference in October. And as I said before, really fortunate, Leith Martin, who runs the program at UNLV, and I think he's speaking tomorrow at this conference, and Nadine are leading the development of this conference. So people who go will not only get to see Las Vegas, but they'll get to see what the UNLV campus looks like. And you can imagine that any campus in Las Vegas has great facilities. So we're really fortunate, and they've got a great team that's going to pull this together. So that's really what I wanted to say. That's kind of the background of who the GCEC is, what we cover, who attends. I will say that if folks are interested in providing input into the topics, you can contact me and I can forward the survey to you. Or if you're interested in participating as a reviewer on the program panel, or if you're interested in submitting a topic, we will open up the call for submissions on April 27th. So that's coming up just down the pike. And we'll open up nominations for awards in May. So all those things are coming down the pike. And if you're interested in any of that, you can contact me and I can get the information to you about all those. And again, Alex, appreciate the opportunity to say a few words about the GCC, and am hugely impressed by the fact you've been able to pull together a virtual conference in such a short period of time. Thanks.
Thank you, Brad. This has been an effort, but one that we really enjoyed trying to pull off. So it's a pleasure. We couldn't do it without your willingness to engage with us. So before we open it up to the panel, let me introduce my other good friend and compatriot in a lot of ways. When we held the USASBE conference in San Diego a number of years ago, we wanted to do a learning journey across a border. And that required the involvement of a Mexican university willing to help us, and a Mexican organization, which is ICSB Mexico, to help us organize and run a first cross-border kind of a conference. And last year, we held the California Educators Conference in conjunction with ICSB Mexico's conference, held just across the border in Ensenada. And we were able to bring the two conferences. It took a lot of planning, and it took the effort of ICSB Mexico President Ricardo Alvarez. Ricardo is a professor of entrepreneurship at Cetis University, a great partner for USASBE and San Diego State, and very involved in a lot of activities. So Ricardo, what's happening with the ICSB affiliate in Mexico?
Hi, Alex. First of all, thank you for having me here. Thank you for putting together this conference online. And I've been part of your conference since you started, since the beginning. Each year I'm coming back to your event. ICSB Mexico is a small chapter, but we have worked actively and closely with our counterparts in Argentina, particularly, and Puerto Rico. And I took over the presidency around 2 years ago. ICSB Mexico started in 2015, so it's not that old. And since I began with this position, our biggest challenges have been to build the entrepreneurial ecosystem in a region and also in Mexico. And we have invited a lot of universities, faculty, practitioners, and government officials to participate in the conferences that we put together. And so far we've done just, during my term, we've done a couple of conferences, and because of budget constraints, we've done this every 2 years. So at the beginning, our first conferences were in Puerto Vallarta and then in Pachuca, Hidalgo. So, but we weren't able to get a lot of people involved. And one of the challenges here is how to change our mindset about entrepreneurship and about working together. So it's been a real effort to convince other universities to jump on board and work with us in trying to develop a more inclusive and collaborative way of working toward, better entrepreneurial efforts, and also to help small businesses all across our nation. Our idea is to provide strategic knowledge and operational training to SMEs, and we have worked with different institutions to do so, and trying to bring the ICSB vision to promote research and public policy advocacy and in our country. So last year we had our fourth conference in Ensenada, as you were saying, and next year we're expecting to do our fifth international conference. And I was talking to my colleagues, and we're thinking in doing it in Tijuana, in Baja, and also in conjunction with your conference, if it's possible. So it's has been a great experience working with you, and we have worked together for 18 years or so.
That we have.
Yeah, and so that's it for ICSB Mexico. Thank you for the time.
All right. Well, thank you to all of our presenters today. I think what you'll find, and I'm speaking now to the wide number of participants. I see 48 participants are involved in this session. I think you'll find that many of the presenters, how do I draw such incredible speakers and presenters to come to this conference? It's because of the networking that takes place across all of these other conferences. Some of us are gluttons in the sense of we're members of all of these organizations: ICSB, USASBE, GCEC, and we work with ICSB Mexico as well. There's so much to be gained from each of these different organizations. And what I like now, I don't know whether it's by accident or some backdoor collective planning, but if you look at the calendar, every year in January, USASBE kicks it off with its conference and kind of gets the ball rolling for a new year. Then GCEC comes in October. Wait a minute, I take that back. ICSB comes in with its world conference, usually end of June or beginning of July, in that time frame. And then GCEC comes in October. So there is incredible opportunity to learn and engage with the networks across all of these organizations. So what did Ricardo and I do? We positioned ourselves right in between so that we come in the April timeframe. And so we try to avoid that level of overlap. But I want to open the floor for our participants to ask questions of, for these presidents here, why should you get involved? And here's your opportunity to meet the leadership. So let me see. I see a question: is GCEC is it only for U.S. programs?
Yeah, Alex, me to address that?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I did in the chat window, but GCC, as I mentioned late in my remarks, that we started as the NCEC, National Consortium of Entrepreneurship Centers, and it was in 2008 was the first year that we converted to global. And we've been global since then. We have been held a conference 3 times outside the US, in London, last year in Stockholm, and once in Halifax, Canada. So we're global. Probably, last year in Stockholm, we probably had, let's look at the numbers, 40 to 60% of the attendees were from universities outside of the US. And so definitely we encourage attendance from, we had attendance from all continents last year. And we're always looking at where would be the next best international location to be and to host it. And so we got a good chance last year to see Stockholm. When we were in London, we got a chance to see the campus of University College of London. And so we're very much interested in having participants from around the world. And I would say in a nutshell, it's simply because we want to understand, we can learn from what folks in Europe and Asia and Africa are doing, and vice versa. And so I think we learn a lot more by having a broader geographic diversity.
Thank you, Brad. Let me direct this to both Jill and to Ahmed. Both of our organizations, ICSB and USASBE, have gone through a bit of a reorganization. We've moved to different models. I'll direct this question to Ahmed first to explain to our participants here, what was the rationale for going from the older affiliate model to our current membership model in ICSB? And then we'll direct a similar question to Jill in terms of why the reorganization there. Ahmed, you want to take that?
Yes, please. Thank you, Alex. So it's a very good question. ICSB, basically, we had over the past few years, lots of, let's say, inefficiencies in our relationship between the organization as a central level and our affiliates. And we were seeing that lots of them, were not seeing real benefits from being affiliates to ICSB, and vice versa. We are not seeing benefits from the affiliate. So we consider ICSB as a platform for all partners. This is our vision, this is our mission. So as president, my objective was basically to have partners and not affiliates. USASBE was an affiliate. Now I see them as partners. They stand with us shoulder to shoulder. We're doing lots of great things together, and we will do more things, I'm sure. I don't see the affiliate model was inefficient. We had lots of problems over the years from it, and we offer obviously the same partnership with other organizations such as GCEC. So because we'd like to see us organizing events, whether offline or online. We have a global audience, lots of entrepreneurship centers within our membership base in ICSB. So we see ourselves as a platform. One of the good things we also looking at our model is how we can reach or disseminate knowledge and education all around the world. Lots of the knowledge and education are concentrated within North America and Europe. We've created a program called the ICSB Knowledge Hubs, which has been launched early this year. Basically, the knowledge hubs are for us to partner with the universities and private sector companies to provide 10 to 12 certificates of training. The model we used to have was we did the training back in the US or during our World Congresses. It was very expensive for lots of developing countries to attend such certificates because they had to travel, pay accommodation, flights, and the certificate costs. Now what we're doing is conducting TOTs. They will start hopefully after the pandemic's over, or maybe we'll do them online. So the TOTs will be, we're transferring the knowledge and the content to knowledge hubs in country, and they are selling it and disseminating this training to others in their country at their own price levels and at their own time. So we're seeing that this will basically, let's say, share the knowledge from our experienced, different universities to other countries all around the world. We have a huge list of countries wanting to enroll onto these K hubs, as we call them, or knowledge hubs. The second thing is, also our relationship with ICSB in Mexico. We're doing lots of things. I want to thank Ricardo for coming to our World Congress in Cairo last summer. He was there and he participated very actively. But now it's time to do things as partners. It's a win-win situation. We cannot basically dictate what the other organizations want to do. And we're seeing that this new model of membership is going to basically make us more financially independent and sustainable as an organization. Maybe the last thing I'd like to mention is we are launching, well, this is, I think a good news for ICSB. We're launching a ICSB Google webinar series very soon, which will also have lots of content on different topics to do with education, policy, and research to support entrepreneurs and SMEs. So we have a Google partnership about to be announced, and we're looking forward to working with USASBE and with GCEC on a number of things worldwide. Alex, the last thing I want to mention is I'm not an educator. I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm a small business owner. And I'm learning so much with interacting with different academics, people who basically, I attend lots of conferences, listen to lots of great ideas. The presentations today were very, very informative to me as a business owner. But when you look at the balance we want to strike in ICSB, we want to have our members, we want to have educators, we want to have practitioners or small business owners like myself. We want to have researchers and policymakers. So we think we would be, a balanced platform to serve all these constituents, if I might say.
Thank you. Thank you, Ahmed. Just one last question for you before I'll switch it over to Jill. How does one become a member of ICSB?
Well, it's very easy. You just log on to icsb.org. There's a tab on the top which says Join ICSB. Okay. We have different levels of membership. We are now creating more benefits for our members. Obviously, lots of products, different conferences they can attend, the different certificate programs. So, this is a dynamic process. We've just switched to our new bylaws a month ago. So it's in the works, as we may say. But I am sure that members will see real benefit from joining ICSB. As we have lots of our ICSB members, whether in Egypt or globally, who are also members of other organizations such as USASBE and our affiliates in Europe, for example, or our past affiliates in Europe, ECSB. But I see that there's lots of synergies which can happen, lots of partnerships. And at the end of the day, we want to benefit people who want to learn, people who want to do business, and they are basically our target audience.
All right. Thank you, Ahmed. Jill, USASBE just went through this reorganization as well. Why reorganize something that was already working, or at least from a member's perspective?
It was working very well. So, no, I think there was, and that's, Ahmed, that's very cool. I'm looking forward to the Google webinars series you have there. I think there was, so in a series of a variety of retreats that we did over the past year, and I think this is the appetite for the board was to get out of our own way, in a sense, and really think strategically instead of being so operational and doing day-to-day kind of functional roles, that we really wanted to move towards something that was more, let's have fun with this. Let's do strategy. Let's do kind of higher level thinking. And, moving, boards go through a lot of different, board passages. And so USASBE is at that point where it can transition. It's at the size. We have about 1.2 million reserves. We've grown our membership quite extensively. And we're at that position now in the eyes of our stakeholders to really think about how do we create additional value beyond just our conference, but year-round programming that can allow us to do that. And how can we have fun with this in terms of building an infrastructure that allows us to think big, but then have a support structure like a CEO and the staff to be able to facilitate that. So, and we just had a really good appetite for it. We explored it. We went through a number of different iterations. We're working on our bylaws right now. So it's still in the proposal stage. So we're getting that all set, but we're kind of really excited about this new move. And it's something I think, it also allows our members to be more involved in our programs. It allows them to sit on committees. It allows them to actually help us drive strategy. So we're really looking forward to kind of this new transition. And so it'll take a while. It's not going to happen overnight, but hopefully in the next 2 to 3 years, USASBE will look a little bit different in terms of all the different, programming and offers that we give for our members.
Thank you, Jill. So the same question to you is, how does one become a member of USASBE?
You can go right up to USASBE's website and enroll. We also have a link for the new members too, and you can reach out to any of us, anybody on the board. You can see who's on the board on our website, and feel free to reach out. we'd love to have you involved.
Thank you. Brad, I mean, how do, do you have to be a center director to be a member of GCEC, or what's the benefit of being with GCEC if you're not currently running a center? Any thoughts on that?
Well, sure. Yeah. So almost all of the people who come to the conference also are involved in teaching classes. They're involved in running co-curricular programs, running accelerators, running, helping students with startups, or running other academic programs. So, we have, although the name says center in it, that's a little bit of a misnomer because we have lots of educators who participate, as you know, in the GCC conference. So really, as I kind of went through what kinds of people are a part of it and come to it, there's a wide diversity of individuals from, long-term tenure faculty members to folks like me that are more came from the practitioner side and run the center. So a broad diversity. And I would say the one difference in our membership versus the other organizations is that membership for us is on a university basis. So there's a small fee for the university to be a member. And then as many people who want to come to the conference from that school are eligible to come to it. So slightly model, but not.
So this is basically an institutional membership. So for example, if I wanted to, I'm involved in GCEC clearly,
Yeah.
But it's because our university took out the membership. Is that how it works?
That's right. The university membership is, nominal, just over $200. And I think it's been that for a couple dozen years or maybe since the beginning. But typically we would see 2 to 3 or 4 people from each university come to the conference. So you pay a university institutional membership. Somebody pays it. Usually, somebody puts up the institutional membership, and then multiple people from that university often come to the conference. The biggest conference so far that we've ever had was in 2018. So the year before Stockholm, we had about 550 people in Chicago at that conference, representing about 250 universities. So that's about 2 to 3 people per university. And we had good turnout in Stockholm, about 450 people in Stockholm, which was probably the second highest we've ever had in the 20-year history or 20-something history of the conference. So remember, the participation has grown, and I would expect Las Vegas is already saying that they're going to break the record.
So
everybody can get to Las Vegas, and Las Vegas is a great city to be in. And so I think that they will set the record at Vegas.
Well, I'm going to put in my thing for the Chicago conference. I fondly remember that conference. We really, really enjoyed ourselves there, but it was so informative. And Halifax, unfortunately, I missed Stockholm, but here it was fantastic. So
I will tell you that I will say that the conference hotel that we booked does not have a casino floor in the lobby. So people at the conference and not at the casino, we have this great a conference hotel that has a kitchen in each room. And if you want to go to the casino, you can do that, but you got to walk down a hallway about 300 yards. So you won't get distracted and lose your money on the way to the conference.
There you go. I hope, I really sincerely hope, I know the planning that goes into this, that our constituents here have an opportunity to come to GCEC face-to-face. Ricardo, how are we going to help build membership in ICSB Mexico? What can we do as global organizations to assist you in that effort?
Well, we're putting together our next conference for 2021. Hopefully we're all out of this coronavirus crisis, and but our conferences are not so big. It's small conferences, a little bit more like yours, like the California now it's going to be bigger with this online mode. But yeah, it's not that big. Our conference is small, has been more toward academic participants. We have universities from South America and from all across Mexico. So we have to change also the way we do our, when people registered to our previous conferences, they would pay for the ICSB membership as an affiliate. But now that things are changing, we will have to change also the way we work on that. And I have worked with you and we thank the support of ICSB, the global ICSB and the headquarters, and also the work we have done with you, Alex, at San Diego State University to help us promote our conference. And in past USASBE conference, we have also brought some materials to promote our conference, and we have had some interesting response in doing so. So thank you, and that's the way you have helped me.
Yeah, well, that's we certainly want to engage with you more so that we can reach more of the very talented academics throughout Mexico to be more engaged in our global community of entrepreneurship educators and researchers. So we're happy to support your efforts. With just a couple of minutes left, I'm just looking to see if there are any other questions. Lot of positive comments here, but not so. You know, just in our final few minutes, I just want to take this opportunity then to thank all of you for participating with us in this highly experimental effort. You know, and as I can say to the participants, I am a member of all of these organizations and I get so much out of each one. It's not an either or situation that way. It's really additive. And when you see, if you've seen the friendships that I've been able to develop with some incredible people, how does that happen? It happens because I get a chance to meet them and interact with them at these different kinds of conferences with these organizations that facilitate such positive and productive feelings, not only the feelings, but helping us all build best practices in our own universities and in our own areas. So that's what we're trying to do here with the California Educators Conference. We're little guys wanting to play with the big guys here and ladies here, but we're just happy to be a part of it. For our conference participants, as I bring this session to a close, we have one more fascinating session coming up, which will close out our formal conference today. Professor Norris Kruger, who's, I'm sure his name resonates with many, many people, will be doing a very provocative session in about 10 minutes or so on entrepreneurial ecosystems, and that'll be a plenary session. I hope you have the time to join us, and following that, we're gonna try another experiment, and we're doing a virtual gathering where we can kind of debrief and decompress and find out how people are feeling and what you're getting out of our sessions today. So panelists, thank you for your time, energy, and effort.
Alex, can I just say one final thing, please?
Sure.
Yeah, I'd like to invite all of the participants in this panel, obviously the presidents of the different organizations, in our next World Congress, which might be postponed, obviously, because of situation. We'd like to have a roundtable together to discuss how we can basically collaborate together as different organizations and how our members as ICSB members can learn and gain expertise from your organizations. So I'm sure our hosts in Paris would highly welcome you all to our next World Congress, which I think might be shifted a little bit to 2021.
Okay, Ahmed, I mean, for people in the audience, I mean, every one of these are fabulous experiences. And, you know, when I reflect back on the Cairo conference, wow. And then I come back and we're in the United Nations, wow. Then I go to New Orleans with USASBE, and wow. And getting ready to go to Las Vegas with GCEC. Wow, wow, wow.
Ahmed, how can I turn down an offer to an invitation to Paris? I'm there.
There you go.
And our host Adnan has texted now, and he is welcoming everyone to his conference in Paris. So I'm sure we'll meet face to face soon, I hope.
All right, I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm flying out tomorrow.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And if you join us for our virtual social gathering, and where we'll informally, with no formal presenters, engage with one another. But come here.
Okay, thank you.
So we lost Alex here, but he did a great job here. So on behalf of Alex, I want to thank everybody. You've been absolutely fantastic. Brad, Jill, Ahmed, Ricardo, thank you very much. We have another session starting in about 7 minutes. If not, we'll see you in the virtual mixer. Alex,
Okay.
Thank
you.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.